Hi everybody! Today we're going to take those cylinders that you've been making and change them into curvy masterpieces. And we're going to use our metal rib to do that. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to use your metal rib so that you can make intentional curves in your forms. So let's get started. I have to hide my sponges from the cats. My kitty cats like to play with my sponges, so I have to close them up in a plastic container, otherwise I won't have any. So let's go. First thing is centering. Remember, my elbows are not out in space. They're right here by my side. Nothing's moving except for the clay through my hands. In other words, when I say nothing's moving, I mean my hands are not, my body's not, everything's in place. Again, we're going to open, stop, check that. Sure I got enough room, and I do. That excess water. Okay, so here's my first pull. And remember, it's the inside bottom that determines the size of my vessel, not the outside. I'm just gonna press this a little bit because I feel like there's an air bubble in there. I have some problems with my wrists, so sometimes I don't wedge as good as I should because my wrists will start to bother me. One of these days I hope to make enough money to hire somebody to do my wedging for me, or a pug mill. Although it might be nice to have company in the studio. You're lonely working down here underground. Let's just trim this. Feels like there's an air bubble in there. I'm not going to get it out, so I'm just going to get rid of it now. I'm going to pull again. Notice how both hands are always touching one another. So what happened here is that I pulled that up and we have that air bubble is right in here. I'm just gonna trim that out again. Hopefully I won't have to trim too much more. So again. Okay. Get rid of this excess on the outside. Remember, at this point, I'm only creating height. I'm not creating my shape. So I think after this pull, I will start to create my shape. And pancakes. Okay, so this time I'm going to go ahead and compress as I come up using my metal rib, just my normal metal rib, before I start to shape this. And that's just to get rid of some of this slurry on the outside, so it isn't so weak and wet. Remember, wet clay is not as strong. The more water in it, the less strength the clay actually has. So just a little bit of slurry I'm getting rid of there. And now I'm going to start shaping. So I like to use my favorite rib, which is this little kidney shaped rib. The reason I like it is it has perfect little curves for the outside of my vessel. So I'm going to give this a bulbous shape on the bottom, and then we'll bring this in or color this in a little bit on top. So we don't want to do this all at once because it'll stretch the clay out and it won't be, and it'll go, if you go too fast, the clay won't be strong enough. So we're going to do this a little bit at a time. So my hands on the inside, my elbows right next to my body. On the inside, I'm going to go ahead and start pressing outward. Notice how I'm using that rib. Come in, not too much in right now because I still have to fix that bottom and I want to be sure to get my hand down in there. It's starting to look a little bit like a milk jug shape. Again, I'm just using the shape of that rib, and my finger inside is right here. So notice that I put the rib right on top of that to get that nice bulbous shape. And I think I'm there. So now what I'm going to do is just pull this up, because we push that together. Now as I pull this up, it's going to come up uneven. That's perfectly normal. Again, we'll trim that off. To make it a little bit more bulbous shape because I want to show intention. My hands to stick. So I'm going to use some of that clay that's still in there. Come out a little bit more. And back in right here. So I don't want to stop right here. I'm just going to go ahead and pull that. I'm going to use my rib to help pull so I don't have to add more water. Okay, so we'll notice how we have a little bit of a bulbous shape. Remember to continually clean your rib. Now, I think my bottom is pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get any excess water out of the bottom now because I'm going to close this up a bit so I can get my hand back in there. This shape is perfect for syrup or anything that I'm heating up in the microwave because this bulbous shape will keep it warm, and as I bring it in right here, it'll stop it from cooling quickly. So again, I'm going to pull. I'm going to go ahead and fix that lip right now before I go any further. Because it doesn't get better It'll only get worse, so. Okay. So now I want to fix this a little bit because remember I want things to be intentional. Okay. So now I'm finished with this bottom part, so now I'm gonna start working on the top part. So notice how I use the other part of the rib to my advantage. And now I'm going to use this curve to accentuate this curve right here. My finger is on the inside, right where that rib is touching, to support what I'm doing. Come out a little bit because I think that I make that a little small for a picture. Give myself a little tiny outward curve. Voila! Again, because I just kind of pushed that out a bit. That end is coming up. And as we all know, I'm a little picky. Ceramic snob, some people might say. But do I care what those people think? No. I only care about what my students and my customers think. Okay. Now, looks pretty good. And I got a little bit of water in the bottom here. Press that again. When you're using a sponge like this and it starts to chatter or move around, that means you're going too fast, so slow down. Okay, there we go.